It's just something about sports. All these players work so hard for that opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity is me, sometimes the opportunity is foul trouble, sometimes the opportunity is injury. So you can look not just with us, but with sports, that initial play right after the injury, everybody's amped up in their juice, and there's a little bit more focus, and you play a little bit different. But I just think some key players came in. I thought Carolyn Swartz, in terms of how she screened, how we were able to trap Tolliver a little bit, how she was able to get some rebounds and get us in some defensive rotations. It might not make the stat sheet as much as other stuff, but she was huge. I thought Swin battled. Swin did a good job. She set the tone. She was aggressive. She communicated a lot. And that just kind of carried over into the offensive execution.
As a team preparing for your first playoff run, what are some things that you'd like to see from the team as a whole, or maybe from the bench to anyone?
I would like to continue to take care of the basketball, because I think if we do that, we give ourselves a nice opportunity for some success. Piff's comfortable, he's playing really well. Sylvia's establishing herself, so that's going to be primary. And I think tonight we were key for some defensive stuff. LA runs a lot of isolation stuff. They have 4 or 5 people that can bring the ball down in transition, and that's been a primary focus the last couple of games. And another thing was, if we rebound the basketball well, there's no defense for second chance points, So I thought we married some of the decent defense to some rebounding. So I think take care of the ball, rebounding. I trust that they'll find a way to score, because they're starting to read defenses, all of them, not just Elena. So I think we have to just keep dialing up some defensive stuff.
Was the steam about to come out of your ears when you had trouble right at the end inbounding the ball and had run out of timeouts? And it sort of looked like that on the video board.
We called a similar play in front of our bench. We had 4 seconds to get it across. Stacked them, curled it, popped them. E gets a layup. So guess what? It worked. Let's do it again. And so we do it. E falls down. Wink, wink. Candace gets on top of her. No call. Please don't print that. I don't want to get fined. But if we would have cleaned it up a little bit better, then it doesn't come into play. So the thing that we're going to learn from as a coaching staff is, you had success. Remember what you did. Tighten up your game, because those situations are going to happen again. Luckily for us, it wasn't a 1-possession game. It was a 4-possession game, which I applaud the players for that. But I don't want to have to burn those timeouts. I had to burn 2 because they went on runs. I want to use timeouts to get something going, not to stop momentum. So, but let me say this. I like the fact that we came out the second half without Sylvia's dominance. Played people at multiple positions. Michelle at the 5, E at the 3, 4, 5, 2, Piff at the point. And it didn't look like it was uncomfortable offensively. They still float with it. So that's a good thing.
So is this the best game Swin's played? I mean, she had to go up against Parker an awful lot of the game.
It probably is, but I'm not even looking at the stat sheet. I'm looking at when I went in the huddle, I zipped my lips, because when you have a player like Swin who knows the veterans, knows the coaches, she's talking to those players. Now we can say the same thing, but players receive something a little bit better when it comes from their teammates, because you're in the trenches together. She's had great practices. She's been so communicative and shoot around, walk through. The coaches, of course, she's doing the scout, and Swin takes her players aside and she's talking to them, and that just builds confidence in them. But you're probably right, and she welcomes that challenge, and we need that from her.
When a player like Syl goes down, how do you try to adjust Elena in there? And then you're in your coaching adjustments.
Well, the good thing about it is, even when Sylvia is not down, we swing Elena from position 2, 3, 4. So luckily for us, it wasn't the first time. It was one of those things where, it's another day at the office. Syl's down. I'm going to go from position 3, position 4. I'll bring the ball up a little bit. So thankfully, Elena has a skill set that we've been able to look at that prior to Sylvia's injury.
We're going to see Elena playing the post?
Post, point, I'll let her coach a couple times, maybe referee. The other team will dictate that. Like, sometimes what's good is We don't like to start her in the post because when you start her in the post, the defense is ready for it. We like to start her outside, let her read it and dive into the post, and it's better for her that way so she don't get double teamed.